The flight attendant's voice cut through the cabin, sharp and loud. "I'm asking you one last time, move to the back of the plane, or I'll call security." Her tone dripped with condescension, her words aimed at Aisha Carter, a black woman seated calmly in first class. Aisha looked up, unruffled. "I've told you, I'm not moving," she said, her voice steady, almost soothing, but laced with unyielding strength. Humiliated in front of everyone, no one expected what came next when the woman they assumed was powerless stood up and revealed her true identity. If you believe everyone deserves respect regardless of race, hit subscribe and comment. Where are you reading from, and what would you do in her seat? Keep reading, the truth is just unfolding. The private jet gleamed under the afternoon sun, its sleek design promising luxury. Inside, the cabin was a haven of opulence, plush leather seats, gold accents, and an air of exclusivity. Passengers moved with ease, their designer luggage rolling behind as they boarded. Soft ambient music played, and the crew offered champagne with polished smiles. Among them was Aisha Carter, late 30s, dressed in a tailored charcoal blazer and slacks, exuding quiet elegance. Her steps were measured, her presence commanding yet understated. She was en route to oversee her expanding business empire, but no one on board knew who she was yet. Aisha preferred it that way. Sarah Mitchell, the lead flight attendant, stood at the entrance, her crisp uniform impeccable, her sharp features radiating control. She greeted passengers with a smile warm for some, colder for others. To Sarah, appearances were everything, and her judgments were swift. Her welcome to Aisha was curt. "Boarding pass, please," her tone lacking the warmth she offered others. Behind Aisha, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, a couple in their 60s, received a beaming, "Wonderful to see you again." Aisha noticed the contrast but kept her expression neutral, her eyes sharp with awareness. As passengers settled, Sarah glided through the cabin, checking on the Thompsons with a bright, "Anything I can get you?" Mrs. Thompson, knitting quietly, shook her head. Mr. Thompson nodded at his coffee, content. When Sarah passed Aisha, her lips tightened at the sight of Aisha's bag neatly stowed. She offered no courtesy, moving on without a word. Have you ever felt someone's attitude shift based on appearances? Share your story in the comments and hit subscribe. Sarah, early 40s, thrived on control. Her pristine uniform and perfect hair matched her rigid demeanor. To her, Aisha didn't belong, not her polished attire, not her calm confidence. Sarah approached with brisk steps. "Excuse me, ma'am," she said, her smile tight. "I think you're in the wrong section." Aisha looked up, calm. "This is my seat." Sarah's tone sharpened. "This section's for elite passengers." A nearby socialite, Clara, leaned forward, curious. A businessman, David, frowned at Sarah's tone. Aisha replied evenly. "Check your passenger list before assuming." Sarah's irritation flared. "I don't need to check. I know who belongs here." The cabin tensed. Passengers whispered. "Why doesn't she just move?" one muttered. "Probably sneaking an upgrade," another shrugged. Sarah crossed her arms. "Move to the back, or I'll call security." Aisha tilted her head. "Call whoever you need." "I'm not moving." Clara gasped. David leaned forward, concerned. Sarah snapped at the junior attendant, Emily. "Escort her back now." Emily hesitated, glancing at Aisha, then Sarah's glare. "You might want to think carefully," Aisha said softly, her words heavy. Sarah scoffed. "I know what I'm doing. Get up. What would you do if treated like this?" Comment below and subscribe for more. Sarah's voice grew louder. "You're not supposed to be here." Passengers watched, the air crackling. Aisha leaned back. "Don't make assumptions about people." Sarah smirked. "Don't sit in seats you didn't pay for." Aisha picked up her phone, typed briefly, and set it down. "You're making a mistake," she said, her calm unshaken. Sarah gestured to Emily, ignoring the warning. The tension thickened, passengers' eyes glued to the standoff. Sarah's voice rose again. "One last time, move, or security's coming." Aisha, serene, repeated, "I'm not moving." Clara whispered loudly. "She's trying to sneak a free ride." Sarah seized the comment. "Exactly. We have rules." Aisha stayed silent, her composure a quiet defiance. Emily stepped toward the passenger list, trembling, but Sarah snapped. "What are you doing?" Emily stammered. Just checking. Sarah cut her off. I've got this. Stay out of it. Emily retreated, flushed. David spoke up. Is everything okay? Aisha smiled faintly. I'm fine, thank you. Sarah snapped. Sir, don't encourage the disturbance. David frowned. You're the one making a scene. Sarah pointed at Aisha. You're causing a scene. Move, or you're off this plane. Aisha met her gaze. You can try. Sarah's frustration boiled. Admit you're in the wrong seat and stop wasting our time. Aisha remained silent, fueling Sarah's anger. Later, Sarah moved down the aisle, tray in hand, serving drinks. She attended the Thompsons first, then others, ignoring Aisha. When Aisha gently asked, Could I have some water? Sarah replied curtly, I'll get to you when I can. Walking past. What would you do if you saw this? Comment below. Minutes later, Aisha stretched her legs slightly into the aisle. Sarah, returning with the tray, deliberately veered, striking Aisha's leg. The tray tilted, water splashing onto Aisha's lap. Sarah gasped theatrically. Watch your legs. You've made a mess. Aisha, startled but composed, brushed at her trousers. You walked into my leg. Sarah sneered. You don't belong here. Aisha's gaze steadied. I've only asked for the same respect as everyone else. If that's too much, maybe you don't belong here. The cabin froze. Sarah's anger erupted. You think you can talk to me like that? In a shocking moment, she slapped Aisha across the face. The sound echoed, gasps rippling through. David half stood, stunned. Emily's hands flew to her mouth. Clara's smirk vanished. Aisha straightened, hand resting calmly, her expression unshaken. You just made the worst mistake of your life, she said quietly, her voice slicing the silence. What would you do in Aisha's shoes? Comment and subscribe. Aisha's voice stayed steady. I've been patient, but you've crossed a line. Sarah's jaw tightened. You've been disruptive since you boarded. Aisha didn't flinch. You'll regret that, she said softly, her authority filling the cabin. Sarah scoffed. Regret? What are you going to do? Call the police. Aisha's silence spoke louder than words. Emily, watching in horror, slipped away, dialing her phone. It's Emily, she whispered. We have a situation. Sarah, oblivious, stood with arms crossed, her confidence waning. Aisha remained seated, water dripping from her lap, her calm a stark contrast to Sarah's rage. All you had to do was treat me with respect, Aisha said. You failed because of your prejudice, thinking I don't belong. Sarah leaned closer, mocking. Respect? Earn it first. People like you don't deserve it. Aisha's eyes narrowed. You shouldn't have said that. Sarah smirked. Oh, please. Actions have consequences. Aisha's voice was soft but firm. You're right. And you're about to learn how true that is. Sarah faltered, unease creeping in. Aisha's calm, her authority, didn't match Sarah's assumptions. Doubt pierced her anger. The passengers looked David's glare, Clara's disapproval, Emily's trembling hands closed in. Aisha's words echoed. You're making a mistake. Unbeknownst to Sarah, Aisha had sent a message, her response to the slap, not submission but strategy. The cockpit door opened, and the pilot, Captain Hayes, stepped out, face pale. He approached Sarah. Step aside, he said firmly. Sarah frowned. Why? I'm handling this. Hayes glanced at Aisha. I got a call from management. The plane's owner is on board MS. Carter. The cabin gasped. Clara whispered, She owns the plane? David nodded. I had a feeling. Emily's face lit with relief. Sarah stammered, That's impossible. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom. We're making an unscheduled landing. Prepare for descent. Murmurs spread. David whispered to Aisha, Why are we landing? Aisha's expression was serene. The plane touched down, and a black SUV pulled up. Two sharply dressed assistants boarded. MS. Carter, one said warmly. Everything's ready. Sarah's face drained. MS. Carter, she whispered. Aisha stood, adjusting her blazer. I'm Aisha Carter, she announced, her gaze sweeping the cabin. I own this plane and this airline. Sarah's mouth opened, no words escaping. Aisha turned to her, voice sharp. Sarah, your behavior was disgraceful. You humiliated yourself, mistreated a passenger, and tarnished this airline's reputation. Sarah stammered. I didn't know. Aisha cut her off. You didn't know because you didn't treat me with the respect every passenger deserves. You acted with prejudice and escalated needlessly. Passengers nodded. Mr. Thompson gave an approving nod. Aisha continued. While you judged me, you failed your job to treat everyone with respect, no matter who they are. She turned to Hayes. I want this addressed immediately, and I want it ensured this never happens again. Hayes nodded. Understood, Ms. Carter. Sarah stepped back, panic swirling. Hayes blocked her. You're not going anywhere. Aisha faced Sarah. Your actions prove you're unfit for this role. You're fired, effective immediately. Sarah's face crumpled. Please, Ms. Carter. Aisha's voice was cold. You didn't mean to get caught. But you did. 2 police officers boarded. Ms. Carter. One said, Are you pressing charges? Aisha nodded. Yes. She assaulted me before witnesses. I expect accountability. Sarah gasped. This is a misunderstanding. An officer produced handcuffs. You're under arrest for assault. Sarah's tears fell as she was cuffed, sobbing. I'm sorry. Aisha's expression was impassive. Your apology means nothing without accountability. Passengers watched as Sarah was led away, her arrogance replaced by regret. Aisha addressed the cabin. I apologize for what you witnessed. This isn't the service I expect. We'll ensure every passenger is treated with dignity moving forward. Applause erupted. Mr. Thompson cheered. Mrs. Thompson clapped politely. Aisha turned to Emily. I noticed your professionalism. You'll hear from my office about a promotion. Emily's eyes widened. Thank you, Ms. Carter. Aisha smiled, stepping toward the exit, assistants in tow. The cabin's tension dissolved into admiration. Justice was served, and Aisha's example was unforgettable. Do you think Sarah deserves forgiveness, or should she face consequences? Comment below. Clara, wide-eyed, blurted, Ms. Carter, you're amazing. Aisha smiled. Thank you. Remember, it's always worth standing up for what's right. On the tarmac, the SUV waited. Aisha's assistants briefed her, but her thoughts lingered on the day's impact. In a later TV interview, she said, Respect is a right, not a privilege. Everyone deserves dignity, no matter how they look. True leadership sets that standard. Asked about those without her platform, she added, Strength comes from within. You don't need a title to demand respect, just stand firm in who you are. Weeks later, Aisha boarded another flight, greeted warmly by a new crew. The lead attendant smiled genuinely. Welcome, Ms. Carter. It's an honor. The service was impeccable, the atmosphere respectful. Gazing out the window, Aisha felt peace. Her actions had turned injustice into a lesson, rippling beyond that flight. She smiled, knowing the greatest victories inspire change. In a public statement, Aisha said, Luxury isn't appearances, it's the experience we create for everyone. Success is how you treat others. She announced new airline policies to ensure respect for all passengers. Hashtags like respect above all and Aisha's vision trended, sparking global conversations. If you love this story, like, subscribe, comment, and share.